In this video, we've compiled Pawn Stars moments where customers brought some of the most expensive watches to pawn. So without further ado, let's dive in. Number 1. 1912 U.S. Navy watch.
This is a 1912 Naval Observatory pocket watch. My dad said he wanted it in a poker game.
A man entered the pawn shop with a watch to pawn. Corey, who was behind the counter, engaged in a negotiation with him. The man presented a 1912 Naval Observatory pocket watch made by Longines, claiming that his father had won it in a poker game. He had examined the watch and noticed the inscription Navy on the back. He speculated that it was intended to be mounted on a ship's nightstand due to its accompanying box.
Longines have the oldest registered trademark of a watch logo in the world. They built the timing mechanism for gymnastics in 1912. And they did such a good job of it that they used them for a bunch of years in the Olympics and stuff like that.
Corey pointed out that the watch was 80% silver, which was consistent with a Navy watch that wouldn't easily rust. However, Corey expressed some skepticism about the watch's authenticity as a Navy timepiece, speculating that it might have been a marketing ploy by Longines. Corey made an initial offer of $2,500, considering the boxes that came with the watch, but not fully confirming its authenticity. He argued that a Navy watch would likely have more intricate features, such as a wind indicator and a second-hand one.
If it was a Navy watch, it'd be a lot more intricate. It has a wind indicator, and it has a second hand. The railroad watches were more intricate than this.
The man countered with a demand of $5,000, eventually settling on $3,000 after further negotiation. Satisfied with the deal, the man left the watch with Corey to finalize the transaction. Corey believed he had made a fair offer based on his knowledge of the watch's history and condition.
I'll go $3,000 on it.
I can do $3 grand.
$3 grand?
Yeah.
All right, deal. All right.
Number 2. Bernie Madoff Rolex watch.
It's Bernie Madoff's Rolex.
Who's Bernie Madoff?
He's the one that put together the Ponzi scheme and stole billions and billions of dollars.
A man arrived at the pawn shop with a Bernie Madoff Rolex watch. Chumley was present at the counter, but he called for Rick. Rick came over and engaged in a negotiation with the man. The man explained that he had a Rolex watch that belonged to Bernie Madoff, the infamous mastermind behind a Ponzi scheme. He hoped to sell the watch for $75,000. Rick inquired about the watch's origin, and the man revealed that he purchased it at a U.S. Marshal Service auction where Bernie Madoff's personal items were being sold.
I bought this at the U.S. Marshal Service auction where they were auctioning off all of Bernie Madoff's personal items. I paid $32,000 for it.
He had acquired the watch for $32,000. Rick mentioned the potential future value of such an item, comparing it to artifacts associated with Al Capone or John Dillinger. The man defended Bernie Madoff's reputation, stating that he wasn't like a traditional gangster but had instead swindled innocent individuals. Rick explained the origin of Ponzi schemes and their unfortunate outcome for someone involved. Examining the watch closely, Rick noticed that it had been professionally restored, which raised concerns about potential replacement parts and a loss in value. He expressed his apprehension about the pristine appearance of the dial, suggesting that it might have been replaced with a newer one.
Generally, on a watch this old, they don't stay this white and pristine. I'm beginning to think maybe some of the parts have been replaced.
The man expressed his desire to sell the watch and stated his asking price of $75,000. Rick decided to take a closer look at the watch. He requested to bring it to the back of the shop for further examination and promised to make an offer afterwards. During the examination, JR discovered that many parts of the watch had been replaced, so he offered only $10,000. The seller lowered his asking price to $40,000. Eventually, he walked out without making a deal.
$40,000 on it.
No, we are so far apart, this is not going to happen.
All right.
Sorry.
Well, thank you very much.
Number 3. Gruen pocket watch.
It's a woman's pocket watch from a long time ago.
Did women have really small pockets back then?
A woman arrived at the pawn shop with her great-grandmother's Gruen pocket watch, which had been stored away for nearly 80 years. She decided it was time to let someone else enjoy it. She informed Rick, the owner of the shop, that her great-grandfather had purchased the watch for her great-grandmother on their wedding night. However, her great-grandmother disliked the watch and claimed that her great-grandfather had won it in a poker game.
Great-grandfather bought it for great-grandmother for their wedding night. She hated it, never wore it, and she claims that he won it in a poker game.
Rick found the watch intriguing, especially the back cover, which featured a Black Widow spider web design. The woman agreed that it was an unusual choice for a wedding gift. They shared a laugh about the spider's mating habits, and Rick expressed his fascination with the watch being a Gruen timepiece. He explained that Gruen watches have been popular since the late 1800s and were considered valuable. In its time, the watch likely cost several $100s, equivalent to thousands today.
When this watch was made, it probably cost $200 or $300, which is the equivalent of $5,000 or $10,000 today. So whoever owned this watch had to have been wealthy.
When discussing the price, the woman initially thought it might be worth around $1,000. However, Rick explained that women didn't usually collect old watches, but he acknowledged that the all-gold composition and unique case design made it interesting. He offered her $200, considering it a fair price. The woman attempted to negotiate for $300, but Rick stood firm and settled on the initial offer of $200.
I'd give you $200 for it.
How about 300?
I'll give you $200. I think it's a fair price.
She agreed, jokingly mentioning that her husband found her easy to deal with, similar to their negotiation.
Okay, 200.
Oh, you're easy.
That's why my husband married me.
Number 4. Silver watch.
Got a watch here I want to get rid of, $1,000. Let's talk some money. I know it's English made, and I've been told it's about 400 years old.
A man walked into the pawn shop with a watch he wanted to pawn. Rick greeted him and initiated a negotiation. The man seemed confident as he stated the price of the watch was $1,000. Rick agreed to discuss the offer. The man claimed that the watch was around 400 years old. Rick examined the watch and pointed out the sterling silver lion symbol, indicating that it was 92.5% silver. He also identified an anchor symbol that denoted it was made in Birmingham, England.
If you look right here, you'll see a lion. That tells me it's sterling silver, which is 92.5% silver. The anchor says it's made in Birmingham, England.
Using online resources, Rick determined that the watch was from 1893, making it 120 years old and still running well. However, Rick mentioned that vintage watches like this didn't fetch high prices. The man asked about the value, and Rick offered $100, citing the silver content. The man disagreed, believing it had only around $20 worth of silver. Rick clarified that silver was valued at $22 per ounce and that the watch likely contained an ounce of silver.
Silver's worth $22 an ounce. You probably got right around an ounce of silver there.
Can you do 500?
Nope.
Feeling disappointed, the man expressed his inability to part with the watch for that price. Rick understood and offered $120 instead, considering the man's situation with his grandsons. However, the man still refused the offer, stating that he couldn't let it go for that amount.
I'd give you like $120.
Number 5.
I can't
Waltham
let it go
pocket
for
watch.
It's a Waltham pocket watch in a salesman's sample box.
Well, it's been a long time since I've seen one of these.
A person arrived at the pawn shop with an 1899 Waltham pocket watch and a salesman's sample box. Rick, the owner of the pawn shop, examined the items and remarked that it had been a long time since he had seen one of those watches. The person hoped to sell the pocket watch for $635 due to its excellent condition and the fact that it still ran perfectly.
I'm at the pawn shop today to try to sell my 1899 Waltham pocket watch. The current condition of this watch is like brand new. I'm hoping to get $635 for this pocket watch.
Rick found the Waltham pocket watch fascinating and mentioned that Waltham was once the largest watch company in the United States, selling over 35 million watches. He explained that even their cheapest watches were worth around $15 back when this particular watch was made, which was equivalent to a whole week's pay in 1900. Rick also shared the historical significance of Waltham watches, mentioning that Abraham Lincoln himself carried a Waltham pocket watch. However, the rise of wristwatches from European manufacturers caused American watch companies to struggle, leading to Waltham going out of business in the 1950s.
Abraham Lincoln carried a Waltham pocket watch. Yeah, that was one of their early claims to fame. The Europeans started making wristwatches. All the American watch companies were going under. They just couldn't compete with the Europeans.
As Rick examined the pocket watch, he noticed that it was actually a travel clock. He explained that travel clocks were popular because hotel rooms didn't always have clocks, and people would often steal them. The person selling the item seemed surprised by this revelation.
There wasn't a clock in the hotel room, but everyone had a travel clock they put on the nightstand. And this was on the nightstand, and you knew what time it was.
When it came to discussing the price, Rick was hesitant to offer the desired amount of $635. He mentioned that travel clocks were not highly sought after by collectors, unlike special and rare pocket watches. Rick made an initial offer of $100, but the person declined, hoping for a higher price. However, Rick couldn't go beyond $200 as there wasn't a significant market for travel clocks. Unfortunately, the customer left the shop without selling the clock.
I was hoping to make a deal today, but it just wasn't the right time.
On Pawn Stars, not only some of the expensive items have been pawned, but oftentimes customers have brought the rarest items to sell. You won't want to miss out on our video, Pawn Stars Rarest Deals. Click here to watch.